Tonight on 8.5-bit, we climb into robots, climb into drones, and climb into the virtual body of our caddy. And then you have to click. Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 257 of 8.5-bit. I'm your host, Paul, and joining me today is my good friend, Sam.
Hi.
Hi, Sam. You're not James.
I'm not. I am the unimproved version. Although you want to argue that point.
Yeah, James has let us all down by getting married.
Yeah, so I'm the fill-in.
He has not yet been married, but will have been married by the time this is released. Welcome to the time loop, which is recording.
I wasn't prepped for this time travel.
What's
going on?
Wait till you deal with time travel embargoes. They're the best.
Oh, that's fine.
So the games hinted at in today's intro is, of course, Gato, Roboto, Observation, and Everybody's Golf, VR.
Oh, yeah, that's got VR now.
It is. No, it's a separate game. It's an entirely separate title.
Cool.
So we'll get to that. How have you been this week, Sam?
Sick.
Well, fabulous. Why are you in this locked room with me?
I'm not contagious anymore.
That's okay. I actually feel I am right on the edge of being sick. I get sick for about an hour some nights, and then I'm improved again, but I feel like I'm just losing a battle over time.
This is the first year in about 8 that I've had the flu shot, and it's the first year in about 8 I've had the flu, so not doing that ever again, I think.
I mean,
it's I don't want to blame the shot.
I mean, you are just in horoscope element at the moment. But you're just saying...
It did happen.
Yeah. And you are feeling mildly autistic at the moment.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, we both lead on the spectrum. It's fine. Cool. James is missing tonight because he is preparing for his wedding, which is on Friday.
Congratulations.
But he's really missed out on a week of, surprisingly, a load of fucking good games.
A lot of good games and a lot of weird news. Yeah,
I've been playing a lot of weird games, like new and old, and catching up on a couple that have just had Switch re-releases, as I do.
Yeah. I realized most of my week has been playing games that came out like a year or two ago, but they're now out on Switch.
Sometimes ones that I will talk tonight about Darkwood, which I kickstarted.
I've been meaning to get that.
Yeah, I kickstarted, had the beta, played a bit of the beta, got the full version that was released on PC, didn't really play it, knew that it was cool, but just didn't play it, and then now I've bought it again on Switch, I played a fuckload of it on Switch. Fuckload for me. I'll talk a bit about that. But to get into it, before we get deep into some game talk, let's talk about some news, because there's some weird fucking news this week.
It's real weird news.
Okay. So today, there was a Pokemon conference.
Yes.
I was first under the impression that this was going to be a Pokemon Shield Sword Direct style thing, but that's coming in 2 weeks. Or 1 week.
Next week, yeah, June 5th.
1 week. It's coming in 1 week.
So they announced that first, the Direct. They said, hey guys, there's a Direct coming next week.
So I heard the news that it was coming, and then I heard a date, so I thought they were the same thing. But no. This was all other news in the Pokemon world.
Here's a press conference about everything Pokemon.
So, here are the exciting things that have been announced. I'm going to choose a random order. I'm going to say
I think that's what they did.
In order of interest. First up, Pokemon Masters.
Yeah. Odd.
It's a new mobile game.
They showed some art to begin with, and it looked cool.
I saw several seconds of gameplay.
And they showed some gameplay, and it looked slightly less cool. It's pretty fair mobile game, I guess. Because
it's a mobile game, I'm going to think of it as Pokemon Wait. We've got Pokemon Go, and we'll be coming up soon to Pokemon Stop. Don't you worry. Which was Sam's joke today, and also what's on the sign.
I just don't get why they. Yeah.
But we're going to save that one till second last. Because fuck the best news. They also announced Pokemon Home, which is going to be a hub for all of your Pokemon goodness.
Which is just Pokemon Bank, but for the Switch.
Yeah, well, it's Pokemon Bank, but everything. So your Goes, your Let's Goes, your Shield and Masters are all going to bank together from this one service.
The interesting thing I spotted. When they showed the big image, cloud-based service, Pokemon Home, and they had all the little images of all the things. Said Pokemon Bank, which is all your 3DS core games, where you can store your Pokemon there. Pokemon Go, which is cool to have, to think that, you can take your monsters from Go across to this service. Let's Go, also same thing.
Yeah.
And then they had Sword and Shield on there. And the only one that allowed you to take it out of home is Sword and Shield. All the others had arrows going into home,
but nothing out.
Not retrieving. So as far as I'm aware, it is just them setting up a new Pokemon bank system for Sword and Shield and any future games.
Oh, I mean, it still means
but
as much
fine.
to me. It's
like, the interesting bit of it that I noticed is that it is a standalone thing.
Yeah,
it's on Switch and mobile, or will be, and by itself, you can trade with it.
I find it so we haven't. I mean, it's not that weird. Nintendo seems unable to integrate things into existing services.
No,
even when it's like, oh, we're going to use our stupid Nintendo Online app on our phones.
They seem right on the cusp.
Each game needs like another thing downloaded for it. Like it can't just all fucking be in the same thing.
They're right on the cusp of having almost okay online.
They're
services.
almost competent, not quite.
And every game has a different thing wrong with it for online.
There's DLC for Tetris 99 now.
There is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the Mario Maker 2 news for their online.
Oh, I did. I don't think I wrote it down. I meant to write Mario Maker 2 bullshit. So Nintendo in there just constant, we can't do anything quite right. Mario Maker 2, with all the cool multiplayer features, you're not allowed to play multiplayer online with your friends.
Is there... The excuse for that was leaderboards, I think. Which is, just don't submit it to leaderboards.
Yes, that was the first tweet in response I saw, which is like, here, I fixed this for you. If you've played with friends, leaderboards don't count.
Done.
Also, well, you could just have a separate leaderboard as well for a team challenge. And also, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, leaderboards pointless.
Yeah. Like,
for most, especially for Mario.
And I don't know. At least from what I've seen with previous Nintendo leaderboards, they are extra meaningless because their security is never great. And
everyone gets a level done in 0 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, fuck it.
Yeah,
I only want a friends leaderboard. I just want to see what my friends do, and that's all. I want
way better.
I want the Super Meat Boy world, because basically I was playing it and 2 other friends were playing it when it first came out. And that made that game go from a very good game to an amazing game.
Because you're constantly fighting against...
Yeah, because we get through, we all get A's on every world, and then it's like, but they beat me by 1 microsecond. And it's like, well, I could beat that.
That's how the speedrunning community starts.
Exactly. And then you get obsessed, and it's great. Okay,
yeah, it was interesting to note that they are planning on it being a global trading platform for Pokemon as well. So even if you don't get Sword and Shield, it can be...
Oh, because I was intending to not.
Yeah. But do you have Pokemon to put into it from any other thing?
I played 3 weeks of Pokemon Go last year.
So you've got a few, yeah.
Yeah.
You could trade those off to someone.
I was really into it for 3 weeks, and I'm thinking, I think I've seen everything now. I'm told there's more.
There is updates.
Yes.
But still the same thing.
It was fine, but I'm not good with repetition. I like my indie games that are 5 hours long and I leave. Never have to play that one again.
Put it down, uninstall, onto the next.
I think that my sign of those always being good is that when I come back a year or 2 later, I'm like, I'm going to play through it again. That's always good. Like, that was a good one. Because there's lots of good ones, but the ones that push over are just those ones that can pull me back in and I still have a good time. Okay, so we got Pokemon Home, Pokemon Masters. They announced that next Detective Pikachu is happening on the Switch. And it will be the shocking conclusion to the shocking story for 5-year-olds from the first game.
Yeah, or some alternate, or some...
They said it's not going to be the same as the movie.
It was hard to figure out whether it was a port of the 3DS where they've changed some things, or if it is a brand new game.
They seem to say it was a continuation.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't follow the nuance of it.
But they definitely went off the back of the, hey, do you want to see how the movie could have ended? No, you didn't watch the actual press release.
No, I just saw
I want to give you the fun little tidbit here.
Give me it all, yeah.
When they brought out, I can't remember his name, but someone involved with the movie to talk about it. And he slipped in like, I hope, because it's the same company behind the new Godzilla.
Yeah.
So he slipped in right at the end of his speech. He was like, I hope you all come out in 2 days' time to watch our new movie. And then cut back to the president of Pokemon game company.
Did he look angry?
Probably, forget about Godzilla for now. We're here to talk about Pokemon, not Godzilla.
Pokemon. Oh, I am looking forward to that Godzilla.
It does look good.
I hope it's good, and then I hope that means that Godzilla vs. King Kong is wild.
Yes, because that's what I'm leaning towards, that being the one I want the most.
I really enjoyed that new King Kong.
It was fabulous.
It was great because they actually finally put in some actual fun characters. I don't know if Godzilla is going to have fun characters or fun monsters.
It seems like it's just got a lot of fun monsters. By all reviews, there are some critics, as critics are wont to do, saying there's too much monster fighting and not enough focus on the human stories.
I mean, I don't want human stories. I just want.
But the reason I want to watch Godzilla is for all the monster fighting.
It's true.
So,
I mean, I still want fun characters in there.
Yeah, the characters have to be.
It's hard for the monsters to have strong personalities.
That's true.
But so I do want a mix. But what I don't want is human drama,
No,
because that shit is always trite melodrama that I don't give a shit about. What I want is John C. Reilly stuck on an island for 50 years. Good stuff. Okay, so then probably the biggest announcement: Pokemon Sleep.
Yeah.
They're taking Pokemon Go and they're taking it to Dream World.
Knocking it out of the park with this one.
Yep. So it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a Pokemon game you play while you sleep. It's a sleep monitor, but it makes sleep fun.
And it comes with the new Pokemon Go Plus Plus.
Excuse me. I believe 1984 told us that's pronounced double plus. The Pokemon double plus good.
They said plus plus.
They did. But I like double speak.
Good. Nintendo naming ways.
The plus plus is one of the dumbest names.
It's a flat Pokeball too. That's
yeah.
It's a disc with a button.
I guess because it can fit in your pocket better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it monitors your sleep and
assumingly
gives you points. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see because they're talking about gamifying it in the same way they gamified walking.
But it's such a weird thing. To see
if you get bonuses if you sleep better, or.
But then isn't that sort of kind of cruel as well? It's
like, I don't know where they're going to go
fuck yourself. You'll never get a
you look at Go rewards you if you walk more, basically. Like, the more walking you get in or the more distance traveled you get in, the more rewards you get. In general.
Yeah. Like with all the egg unlocking and stuff.
Do you sleep better? It's like, you only woke up once. Here's some bonuses. I don't know how they're going to gamify it. What I do find interesting is how much data they're going to get from it.
Do like the chronically depressed or just people with chronic fatigue syndrome, do they get real bonuses? They slept 18 hours today.
Pretty much. And if you sleep all day,
and even when they're awake, really they barely moved. What? It's like, I suppose it could have that classic Nintendo. You've slept for 8 hours now. Why don't you get up and go outside for a while?
Please try and take a break from having a break.
Take a break from sleeping. Why don't you play some Pokemon Go? So that's happening with its weird Pokemon Plus Plus thing. And then the big one, the most exciting one, the Pokemon shirts.
Oh, fabulous.
Have you actually gone and looked at them?
I have. It is incredible.
They've announced a fashion line with Pokemon, and I was like, oh, whatever. And when I loaded up the phone, they had man and female styles, and you sort of pick if you wanted to be like a casual shirt, a business shirt, or a Hawaiian shirt. And then it's like, oh, and here are the patterns, and it's 151 patterns for all the original Pokemon.
The originals.
They're all very Pokemon, but they're subtle enough to be acceptable in most social situations.
So
it's not garish.
This is the last thing they announced.
Yeah.
And all the speakers at the press conference, I can speak, were wearing a different one.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice till about halfway through that they were Pokemon shirts.
Yeah, because
they're real subtle.
There's some really stylish patterns there. But did you see how you can customize them?
Yeah, so you can choose like the spots to put on the designs, like the collar and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Pockets.
Yeah,
so you can be like, I just want it on the pocket. And
inside,
the rest of the shirt
outside
blank.
of the collar, the cuffs, inside out, the actual lines.
Fully made to order.
Yeah, it's like really fucking customizable stuff.
I absolutely love it.
It's like $100 US a shirt. I was going to say t-shirt, but shirt. But for a custom pattern shirt, exactly what you want. That's not crazy prices. No. That's just like sort of regular prices for that. So
seems all right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to because I don't really care about Pokemon that much. But if I had money to blow, I might even still get one myself.
I would if I wore shirts.
Oh, it's true. You are mostly topless.
It is currently Japan only.
No, there's a US launch.
There is a US launch and a EU launch. So I just assume we'll be paying exorbitant shipping prices.
Yes, yeah.
As usual.
I mean, maybe if I could get a Diglett shirt, I'd be in. Look at my Diglets.
Yeah.
And then they get close and it's actually one of my nipples sticking out. We could actually have
the whack-a-mole on pull.
Oh, finally. Yeah. Everyone touch
play
me.
Whack-a-Mole.
Please stop, no. Goodness. Okay. Where are we, Chen?
It's just Amy meowing
I think Callum was listening, but I think he was talking in general chat. He said that his wife was going to destroy the sleep game. and he was going to get he's going to get me a Snorlax shirt. Yes,
awesome.
If people wish to buy me things ever, I'm not a proud man.
I feel like a Snorlax one because of his color scheme, where he's got like the belly and it could be like a tux thing.
Good
That would be a Snorlax tux.
Fabulous.
Could work
Okay,
quite well.
Let's keep going through this news. Good stuff. So, very quick one. For E3, Microsoft in Australia is doing a bunch of press conference showings at cinemas.
Yeah, they did this last year, I think, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Sure they did.
They might have. And you get a little swag. And then
swag
afterwards,
bags,
they're going to show you either X-Men Dark Phoenix or Solo.
So they're going to show a new release or an old release.
Yeah, it's like that's... But
Microsoft, how are they choosing which?
Microsoft says X-Men, but the cinema says it's Solo. So I don't know which is which.
The cinema saying, excuse me, we want money from X-Men.
But I was trying
Solo's old.
I was tossing up whether I go or not because it's 6 a.m. in the morning and like I go with someone and Cal at work said he'd come with me.
I unfortunately have a job.
Yeah, it's like we got jobs. Like what? I don't have a choice in what's sold out.
Damn.
Yep, it's gone. Can't do it anymore. There are some locations in Australia that still have tickets, but Brisbane and Victoria, I think, are all gone.
What do we think is the target audience for this?
Me?
Other than you. Who do we think all those tickets went to?
Probably middle-aged, overweight men that have a podcast.
Yeah, so you.
And
all the other yous.
Variations of me. That's why I wanted to go. I wanted to meet some more of me's.
Get some new friends.
It could have been utterly disgusting. Oh, Cal's trying to go. Not on the Microsoft site, buddy. They say they're already all registered out. Then the Hoyt site might be different.
Yeah, maybe there's different ones.
We'll see. At least the Microsoft stuff, they've like gone, nah, we've exhausted supply.
Maybe the special front row VIP swag tickets.
Amy suggests Fortnite kids will be interested, but I don't think Fortnite kids know what E3 is.
No. Yeah. I think Fortnite kids get all their news from Fortnite and Ninja.
Oh yeah, Ninja, the great source.
I think that's it for that.
Ninja's influence on
E3's in that weird position nowadays, really, isn't it? Where it's not really the press conference it used to be anymore, but it's not really out
of the platform holders,
a general audience.
Microsoft is the only one that's doing that. The actual floor is turning into a general audience. If you look at the floor,
turning into a convention for sure.
Half the floor is now esports.
Oh wow! Okay.
And the actual press outlets are going like, there are entire halls we don't have to go into anymore.
Makes it easier for them, I guess.
Yeah. So it is becoming more of a consumer show, but it's also becoming less of an interesting show.
Yeah.
But it is still like the premier event to announce things at.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like even if there's companies not doing things at E3, they're still doing their things.
They do things around
E3 because it's the time of the year to do it.
I mean, there's very big rumors of Sony doing a Last of Us 2 event in the next 2 weeks and stuff like that. Like everyone's putting stuff out whether they're or not.
Thing that's happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's happening like today, isn't it?
There's some weird Twitch stream looping going on before the trailer dropped.
They had some teaser, something the rope, make the rope, build the rope, something like that.
Yeah, something about coming together. I don't know.
Yeah, it's wackiness. But yeah, E3's mess. I'm actually very excited for E3 this year because I don't know what it's going to be.
No, there's nothing.
Because I think Microsoft is actually going to go big. I think they're going to go like this is like our
the big. Yeah,
they're going to go. This is this is our future. We're going to lay down our plans. We're going to get in front of everyone.
Cloud gaming.
Yeah, they're going to do their cloud gaming. But then also they're at the point now that I bet they've got enough to show off a bunch of their next gen titles. Maybe not gameplay.
True, yeah.
But they've it was last year they were showing off all their acquisitions, and some of them they'd already acquired a bit before that. So they're a couple of years in with another year of development to go after that. And most of those studios have not shown shit all.
No, so we're kind of going to get here's what everyone's been working on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, so I'm expecting some big plays, but, sometimes they don't.
Could just be a long list of knacks.
A long list of what?
Knacks. Knack 3, Knack 4, Knack 5.
Yeah, but that's Sony. I am very excited for Knack 3.
That's what makes it interesting, Paul.
If Mark Cerny jumped to Microsoft. Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. Microsoft and Sony have signed basically a memorandum of understanding that Sony is going to be using Microsoft Azure services for its
cloud gaming,
online infrastructure and everything, which took apparently the PlayStation team a bit by surprise.
Another excuse scratched through when they try to argue against crossplay.
Yeah, it's smart because Sony has never been able to get that infrastructure out. And they had to go with
they're not a server-based company.
Exactly.
Microsoft
they're not services-based. It is then going to be interesting as future, actual services get charged and Sony having to pay their competitor to run their service through that. So that'll be interesting business-wise, but that doesn't really affect us.
No, at the end of the day.
But yeah, it's like, who are they going to go with? Amazon, who is also doing their own system.
That's it. Those are the two options.
Yeah, Google, who is not even in the top 3, I think, when it comes to that sort of service base, who is also a competitor. So it's like, well, they're all sort of best deal there. But yeah, maybe Sony's going to jump over and put Knack 3 on Xbox. What are we guessing it's called now?
Who knows what it'll be called?
Xbox cock. Let's
Really?
just get it right out there. Yeah. Who can resist?
Does that make it weirder when it gets a red ring? Or is it?
It's just take some penicillin and you'll be fine. Okay, sort of knock that off. Cool. Very important news: the Ouya,
Yes.
which we have one right here,
Doing
doing
important
God's
work over there.
God's work. Its online services are being shut down on June 25th.
Oh no!
This also means that any game that you've purchased, while you'll still have it, if it requires any sort of online check of its license, it will not work.
Oh, I didn't realize that bit.
So
That's fun.
Thankfully, I don't think I ever bought a single game for it.
4
Part
people,
of why it failed.
4 people are going to be disappointed.
Yeah. I plug it in once in a while and just have a poke.
Is just to heat it up slightly?
Yeah. Admittedly, I have a bunch of emulators on there. I think I was playing Scum VM games on there.
That's good use.
Yeah, it's very important. I've got nothing else to play old Scum games on. Just every device that can run anything. But people have to see Sam and Max.
Yeah.
In more Sony news, Sony have started a new division, which is basically a production company working on porting their games into television and movie projects.
I didn't see this, and I read it on your notes, and I thought, what? And then I didn't look into it.
And then they announced the first one.
Oh no.
Guess which property in TV or movie?
Sony properties.
Yep. I'll give you, it's going to be a series.
I know I'm going to get it wrong no matter what. What is it? Just tell me.
Twisted Metal. Not my first choice.
I'm just going to say I'm 100% in for that.
Oh, I will check it out. No doubt.
I have very fond memories when I was about 7.
It has wild characters.
Annoying my parents by staying up very late playing it. Those were good games, the old ones.
Yeah. It's definitely known for their strong narrative and characterization.
Well, they have lore. They do have world lore. They've got their characters.
But not necessarily the easiest lore to sell as an actual
show.
But
it's not enough lore that they have to kind of
they're not stuck to anything.
They're not stuck. No. Like the basal lore. It'll
be basically like when they did the new Death Race with Jason Statham.
Yeah. I'm all for that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, but original Death Race is so much better.
It was, but
putting all the old people outside the nursing home to get run over as the race went by. Where's that satire?
If there's one thing that makes Death Race stuff better, it's a dude who's literally just attached to 2 wheels and an ice cream truck. Like,
it is pretty good.
Some of those characters in Twisted Metal are just on point.
It'll be interesting to see how this goes. I assume they're also just working with the people wanting to license things, but the first thing they announced was Twisted Metal, which is mad.
That is insane. Yeah.
I really could have structured this a bit better. Nintendo has shut down some of its mobile games in Belgium. You can no longer play Animal Crossing or Fire Emblem in Belgium. Yeah, because of their new loot box laws. And
that makes
Nintendo
sense. Yeah.
crosses the line there. They are in the bullshit line there too.
Animal Crossing very much is in the bullshit line.
Valve have announced a new game.
No.
Yes.
How did I miss that?
Well, because you see, it's another really creative outlet from Valve. The masters of being creative and making new things.
What have they done this time?
Well, they couldn't work out a deal with the people making auto chess, so they're making their own auto chess.
I did see this, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this. Because there's the people that made auto chess.
Yes.
The map in Dota.
Yes.
And Valve has hired at least one of those people.
I don't know if any...
As far as I'm aware.
The main guy at least isn't there.
The main guy isn't.
And they were trying to make a deal with the team, but they couldn't come to it.
Yeah, from what I'm aware, at least one person who worked on the map version has been hired by Valve. Whether that's a good thing or not, I mean, it's probably not even up in the air. It might not. It's likely not a good thing. Because it's not the main dev. But, yeah, auto chess. I still don't really know what it is.
As far as
chess with MOBA characters.
Yeah, it's not really chess. It's just it's sort of more auto fight. So you just have to select. It's almost like a card game of it, I think.
Right.
Yeah, like you're building a deck
odd.
of things. I have no idea. I mean, I don't play Dota, let alone a Dota spin-off. And then the biggest news: new console reveal. Yay! Woo!
Best console ever. I think you mean.
Can't fucking wait.
It looks incredible.
And because I listen to Video Game Hot Dog, which is a podcast by the people that make Kingdom of Loathing, and they are releasing a game on this.
Ooh,
so they had some cryptic things to say about it, and they were
dropping
very excited
hints
as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's
some big devs behind this too.
Yeah, is Bennett Foddy was there. Who's the Katamari guy?
I can't remember his name, but he's the Katamari guy.
Yeah, the Katamari guy. There's a few people signed up. So this is a new console that's for hipster indie wankers like me.
Yeah.
And
me, apparently.
And Sam. It is a small handheld console. It has a D-pad. It has an A and B button. And it has a crank.
An actual crank
and
on the side.
The crank is for gameplay interaction, not for powering it up or anything.
How long do you give it before it snaps off?
Apparently, it's incredibly robust.
It looks like it's solid metal.
Yeah, it's basically solid metal straight into it.
It's really hooked in there.
And from what I've heard about the build quality is very high, so this thing you could beat people across the head with it.
I mean, it's got
basic... there's another reason too. Its screen is a very beautiful, I think, 240 by 320 resolution.
Yep.
Monochrome screen.
No backlighting.
With no backlight.
Yes, the old Game Boy days. I am eagerly awaiting the first person to get one of these and then start selling the old magnifying glass with the lights on it attached. They
had the old backlight kits that used to put in the GBAs as well. Like make a company doing that. So wonderful so far. You don't buy any games,
which is a plus.
In fact, but you do You do buy seasons, and so the first season is 12 games long, and you get a new one once a week. And when it arrives, it auto downloads a little light flashes that your new game is ready.
You can play it.
And the thing is to advertise it, even though we've got a few of the creators and they've shown a little bit of one game that exists just to show you that things do run on it. They are not announcing any of these games.
You just get them. It's full surprise. Could be good. Could be bad.
Crank powered game once a week, and it will retail for $150 US, which is not super cheap, but also it's an incredibly niche product.
That includes the first season.
That includes the season of games as well.
If you're thinking you're getting 12 random games,
yeah, they're not supposed to be super long games, but they're also not supposed to be. Snippets. They're not supposed to be tiny either. Like they're supposed to be a couple of hours long each, I believe.
Seems alright for a
what
niche.
A weird fucking thing. I can't wait.
Out of nowhere. Yeah. And it's bright yellow.
Yeah,
it's bright yellow. That's the other thing I love about it.
It's the people that published Firewatch are making it. I can't remember their name though off the top of my head. If only I had some way of accessing the internet in front of me, but it's impossible. The Playdate. It is.
This is probably a terrible thing to Google.
Swing. Well, you got it up first. You didn't get anything weird. Who's making it?
Whoever wrote this article is terrible at writing articles. Because it's not in the initial.
So while you do that, I saw John Wick 3.
Did you? I have not.
Yeah.
There is someone in chat that needs to be watching the first two, so we can go watch the third one.
Yeah,
Toshki.
Amy. Oh, now everyone knows that Toshki's Amy. Damn it, if we didn't say those names at the same time.
A lot of people knew already.
Impossible.
Or maybe there's just two people that need to sit down and watch the first two John Wicks.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Well, also, when she's on the show, her name does appear in the credits, so it's fair.
Panic.
That's the one with an exclamation
point,
point,
I didn't remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. So
I do like this little sentence. Mm-hmm. Described by its organizers as feminist, queer, weird, and wonderfully experimental. Straight from the organizers.
Just wait, the Playdate's feminist.
Apparently. I feel like they're just...
I don't understand how a piece of hardware can take. I
feel like they're just trolling with that statement a little bit.
That's what I feel like.
Okay. I've been look at this crazy thing.
I've been very much enjoying a Facebook page which is Animals Are People Too.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm actually not sure what its MO is. It might be making fun of vegans by making some very, very silly things.
I mean, animals are people. It's
no, the statement's fine.
The statement's there.
The statement gets people in, but there are things like one of the things is about how farmers are torturing sheep by stretching them, and they got a picture of a llama. So
okay.
stuff like that. And they talk about their vegan Antifa Lord Christ, and it's a picture of Manson, and they've got a poll of him versus the old PM Shorty Shorts, which is Bill Shorten, who apparently was our old PM. And like, which one do you prefer?
I can't keep track.
But so it's very, very silly. But 90, maybe even more than 90% of the comments are from bogan sort of right-wing identified people that are just like think it's real. So it's either like a honey trap for morons or it's genuinely making fun of vegans and just accidentally being a honey trap for morons. I know
those pages are wonderful.
It's just they had one straight because you know the old like shitty joke. I'll put it as a joke, which is just like, how do you know someone's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Yeah. So they're the opposite. They're just like, how do you know someone's a dirty meat eater? They'll tell you they're dirty. Almost all the responses are people saying I eat meat and showing like a picture of them eating a steak and stuff, like without any irony.
It's
like. Like, take that, vegan. It's like, they're not real. It's a joke page. It's very obviously a joke page. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm on board with the page makers or not, because we might be different.
That's in an odd realm, yeah.
But, yeah, I very much just like the sign of just like, wow, these people are dumb.
There's a lot of those people around.
Shall we talk about some video games?
Yeah, let's do that. That's what this place is for, I think, isn't it?
That's
what I signed up for.
Blast into a game that comes out, will have come out on Friday. It's called, actually Thursday. It doesn't matter. Gato Roboto.
Yes.
On the Switch.
I saw it
probably
on
PC as well. Probably.
I looked at the screenshots after you'd mentioned that you were playing it.
Yes.
And I went, looks kind of cool. And I didn't read anything.
It looks cute.
I went back to Dead Cells.
It's a monochromatic game.
Yeah.
So pixel art, you are spaceship, this astronaut's going to investigate a crash thing. Starts quite Metroidy, crash on the planet, but the astronaut gets stuck in the ship. Oh shit, I'm fucked. What am I going to do? Thankfully, his pet cat is on board,
which is important.
So they says, "Go get help, cat. Go get help." And then the cat finds a robot suit. So you spend beautiful. The game. It's a Metroidvania. Very, very Metroidy. Direct comparisons in both music and design in lots of parts. In a big robot suit, but also you can push a button to eject, and then you become a cat.
Then you're just a cat.
Then you're just a cat, and the cat can only take one hit, so he's very squishy. But the robot can take a bit of damage if you need to. So quite often it's like, yes, there's a narrow passage. Certainly the cat.
I was about to ask what the benefits of being the cat.
Yes, and the cat can climb up walls and things like that. So
cat stuff.
Yeah, it does some cat stuff. So there's quite often reasons to jump in and out, and also weirdly, the cat can swim, and the robot can't. So they sort of like push the cat in early. It's like, oh, this is actually fine, and goes for a swim. It's very cute, very fun. It's got great music. It plays very tightly, very well. It is a short game. At about the 3-hour mark, I was standing at the point where the game said, "Just letting you know, if you haven't finished up, going past this point will mean that you can't come back." So I'm close to the end.
I'm very glad when those screens exist.
The problem is, I've collected every collectible except one.
Oh.
So I said I was about the 3-hour mark. I'm now at almost the 5-hour mark.
Just that one collectible?
Mostly on that one collectible. And I know where it is.
Is it like the Messenger all over again, Paul?
No, because I just have no idea how to get there. I can see the area of the map I have to go to, and there's only so many walls that an exit could be going off, but I can't find any way of getting up an exit. I've run around that level a dozen times just trying to find like what to do. Because it's pre-release,
you can't look up a guide.
I can't go ask anyone because has anyone got a fucking hint? I should have just messaged the developer and said, guys, is there like do I have to put in a secret code somewhere to like turn on a fan or something? So I haven't finished
a phone hotline to the devs to find out.
Yeah, I mean sometimes they straight up when there's review stuff, it's like here's a guide or something. But
is this potential for a niche forum type environment for anyone who has press release versions of games?
You do have
to get together.
Some forums can be like that, but I am not connected enough to really. Like, I know some other people that do similar stuff, but because we're so widespread, we might all be playing one game a week, so the chances of being the same game is pretty unlikely most of the time. So I haven't finished it. I'm sure it will be fine and it will finish well. It's very short. It's very tight.
You just gotta get everything, Paul.
Because the thing is, when you get that one last collectible, then you can go get a final upgrade.
Oh, there it is.
If there was no upgrade, I might just let it be. But I need to know what the fucking upgrade is. I really hope it's stupid.
It is the messenger all over again. Because boy, was I disappointed when I got everything in that.
This final upgrade. I mean, nothing ever beats the Breath of the Wild final upgrade.
It's pretty good.
The golden
when you
shit.
get all the Korok seeds.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone actually doing that. But people have.
I did.
Well, not really.
Yeah. I got all of them. After I knew what you got.
All 500, or is it more?
It's more. It's...
You'd have to...
I've blanked it now.
Don't you just have to scour the entire map?
It does reach a point where you basically just put on the thankfully DLC hat that lets you know when Koroks are nearby.
Yeah.
And then just... It's like a police search. Like you break the map up into its grid.
Yeah. I was thinking you just go up and down.
You just travel the grid.
Grids. Yeah. That sounds like fun, Sam.
It was.
It reminds me of when I got the real Mega Man Blaster in Dead Rising, but that only took 2 hours of work.
I think doing that is the one reason I haven't gone back to replay Master Mode yet. Because I still have PTSD from doing that.
Yeah, I think you made the wrong choice. Sam.
Yeah, possibly, but I do that a lot.
I feel like what they should have done is at about 300 seeds, the game should have just said...
You've got enough now.
It's like, you know what? We're taking away the... enough.
It's just once you've got enough to get all the upgrades, right?
Yeah.
They should just go, okay, that's it, done. All the other Koroks, they've gone home.
Yeah. Don't even put the bullshit thing there. Just say, no. I like games that don't let you do everything anyway. I think it's good. Okay, so Gato Roboto, it's very fun, but it's very short. I'd probably be recommending something like the Messenger over it. But if you have the time and you think it's really cute with the cats, as I say,
it does pull me in a little bit.
Great production value. And just one of those things, sort of Game Boy inspired, but with like just that little bit of what are we...
Like the modern quality of life.
Yeah, I was thinking like, what's the term that like Van Bleer uses when they like make everything a bit flashier? Something.
Juice.
Like they just juiced it up.
James's
just that little
favorite
bit.
word.
Yeah.
They juiced it.
Just like when a hit point comes off, it like knocked
all
off the screen and stuff like that.
And effects
It's very nicely done. It feels very good, and it's relatively funny too. Gato Roboto. Okay, let's talk about Observation, which is a game we've both played and you have completed.
I have, yes.
Okay,
technically
so
twice.
Tell us about Observation.
Observation is a bit of a mindfuck. It is a first-person game set in space. It is an exploration narrative game with puzzle elements. So
this is the point where I had read press releases.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so it's a horror space thing, I guess. And I'm seeing everything's in first person. So I'm like, I guess that's like walking around a thing, whatever. I'm like, I'll have a look at it, but I'm not super excited.
It is very different.
What people did not say... Nobody said, Paul, this is a spiritual successor to Experience 112.
Oh, okay.
And why didn't anyone say that to me?
Didn't realize.
So, Experience 112 is one of my favorite games that nobody played.
I didn't. Tell me about that before we talk about Observation.
On a not cruise. There's like a shipping ship. I think it might be a research vessel.
Right. Like an actual boat ship.
Yes, a boat, and you're like lost in, I believe, the Antarctic, from memory. And there is a single woman there that's a survivor, and you are stuck in the security room.
Okay.
So your interface with the game, and this is where these games differ slightly, is only through security cameras and being able to interface stuff and remotely do things. Yeah. But in that game is actual windows. You can open up a few different windows and drag them.
A computer,
as
it were.
Yeah, sort of a computer interface, which is very, very cool.
Yeah.
But then when someone starts talking about you are in this game, you play the AI of the ship, and you look through security cameras. I'm like, I'm fucking sold. I am. What I would have been here last week if I knew about this. I was very excited when I heard the concept. Yeah.
So you play as the AI.
Yeah.
Who is named Sam.
And did that make you happy?
It broke me slightly at some parts of the game.
Hi, Sam.
Playing it late at night with the flu, I will point out.
Getting a bit delirious.
A little bit delirious. There are some points that, they're a little bit not mind-blowing in terms of, whoa, how did that happen? But just she called me Sam. And I don't want to say it's a horror game because it really isn't. It's atmospheric.
Atmospheric thriller.
It's very... There's a lot of suspense to it, but there's never any major kind of resolutions to that suspense. It's just builds, and that's it. And then you get resolutions to little parts of the storyline. But essentially, you are this AI on a natural spaceship on what is, I believe, a weird version of the ISS. It's called Observation.
It's actually based on NASA designs of space stations.
Yeah, so it has... it has the EU arm, it has the Russian arm, it has the Chinese arm to it.
And it feels so much more like a space station than most space stations in games.
They've done a wonderful job.
That's what I hate about Tacoma. Like, Tacoma's just like some weird building that you walk around. There's nothing about it that feels like a space station.
No, this very much is, you feel like you're in space when you're playing it.
So the game is sort of all about interfaces to a degree. Yes. From what I've played. I've only played a little bit of it.
Almost entirely about interfaces.
And the interface designer is the guy that did the interfaces in Alien Isolation.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it gets that sort of retro-inspired, sort of lots of text-heavy stuff. And about so far, because I don't have any... I'm just intrigued in the story yet. I haven't had any, either successes or disappointments in the story.
I'm interested to know how far in you got.
Oh, I pretty much stopped after you start getting the drones, because James wanted to play through this with me, which is only just after the title. So after sort of the first reveal about what this setup is. Because it starts with you sort of waking up and your memory's been wiped and this woman is seemingly alone at the station. And then there's a few little things which are basically tutorializing. And then it does sort of a bigger reveal of what this situation is, which is very cool. And then I sort of stopped after that. I just checked it out because then they give you you can also fly this drone around and explore. And I wanted to see what that interface was like.
That was a bit of the game that lost me a little bit too.
The drone stuff?
That drone controls. You're playing on PS4?
I'm playing on PS4, yeah.
It does not work that well with a mouse and keyboard.
Which seems a pity, because on the PS4, it doesn't use the trackpad for like the cursor movement. So you are just pushing his cursor around with the stick. So I feel like neither one seems to be perfect.
Not quite right.
Yeah. It's like, you could have fixed this with that. But the only thing that I have disliked so far is just because of my love of that Experience 112 game. Quite often when an event is happening, it still gives you a cinematic camera of the event.
It does, yeah.
And I'm like, no.
It forces you back to the cinematic.
Yeah. I'm like, no. Leave me in the security cameras all the time. Like, fix my perspective to that. That's all I want to experience this game through. I want the limitations.
I will note that a lot of those cinematics are from the security cameras. They remove the effect.
They remove the security camera effect, do they?
Yeah. But they're still the location.
That's good. It's and this is the same developer that made Stories Untold.
Yes.
Which we covered,
which was interesting.
a year and a half ago or so? 2 years? Something like that? Bunch of short stories, which were just sort of ambitious ways of presenting basically text adventures in many ways.
Yeah, which it comes close to it, really.
There's a lot of text in the game, but in the form of interfaces.
Yeah, so the way it kind of works, and you would have seen a bit of this, is that to progress the story, you are effectively completing like tiny little puzzles. You're interacting with things like the hatches in the space station or the various systems of a space station. It gets to the point where like you're dealing with the communications array and the life support systems and crew tracking and stuff like that.
And as a basic mechanically, how some of that works is the cameras, if they can see something and can zoom in close enough to it, you can then basically pair to it like a Bluetooth pairing. Yeah. And there's just a tiny little mini game. It's like push this sequence of buttons to pair it. And I don't think you can even fuck it up. If you push the wrong button, it doesn't matter. No. But it's just a fun idea. But it's also like has that element of searching the environment and working out where everything is. So it's a nice touch.
It doesn't tell you a lot. You'll get a little hint of like you need to do this, and then you're kind of on your own to find the things you have to interact with. And then generally, other than some of the simpler things like the hatches, in order to get past an interaction, you have to complete some kind of little mini game puzzle type deal, which aren't difficult. They're self-explanatory. Sometimes you have to find schematics in order to know how to complete it. But it won't let you try unless you found the schematic in those cases.
You can't sequence break.
You can't
intuit it.
You can't guess, or you just are kind of locked out of that system until you find the solution.
Yeah, so the mini games are more experiential than their actual puzzles.
They're just effectively time gates. Some of them do have a time constraint to them, so you can fail it if you take too long to do it.
Well, I had one early in the game where the astronaut, she says, it's like, oh, good, you've already paired this door. Blow it in 3, but I wasn't there yet because I paired the door earlier. And so obviously, if you hadn't paired it, she would have gone. You would have had time to pair it. And then she goes 1, 2, 3. It's like, why didn't you blow the door? It's like, I don't know where the door is. I'm still trying to work on the camera. And so I failed that, but I didn't need to affect anything. It just showed me that sometimes I'm not successful.
So the characters in the game and the world in the game react quite nicely to you taking your time or not taking your time on certain things as well.
It also has this interface where you get information on screen and then you relay that, like you go basically into I'm going to talk about this mode, and you say I'm going to
pick which information
convey that information
to tell to the character.
Yes, whether or not how much effect that can have, I don't know in the actual story, but it feels good.
There's a lot of it where you can't progress unless you've done it. There's a lot where you've got multiple things you can relay, and the order you do it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The dialogue will change slightly to reflect the order you choose. But at the end of the day, as long as you've sent all the information to the character, it doesn't matter.
Because the thing at the very beginning...
There's a few points where there are choices. One of the very first ones is possibly the very first thing in the game you ever do.
That's what I was about to talk about.
The voice
so I
command.
think, and I'm assuming if this is well written, which I'm hoping it is, I mean, I don't know if it's satisfying, but it seems well written at least, this would be a good indicator of things to come, which is the very first thing is the astronaut does a voice authorization with you, and it comes back as incomplete match that may be real or not, and you can choose to reject it or accept it.
Yeah.
I rejected it.
What happens? Because I hit accept on that one.
She goes, oh, I'll do it again. And she does it again. And that time it comes through as an approved.
There we go. Okay.
It's like, okay, actual voice match this time. Because if you even look at in the first one, the wave signal, it's clipped and stuff.
It's slightly off.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay. So then you can accept it. And I feel that will be that will come back thematically.
It does. Yes.
But it's just like, it immediately made me understand what this game was going to be. I'm like, oh, I get it. This is cool. So overall, though, without obviously going into any story stuff,
no, I'll try not to spoil. It's a weird one.
You were weirded out by the end.
I had a lot more questions by the end than I had playing through it.
Yeah.
It is very much a story that is open to heavy interpretation.
Fun.
It's interesting what it's trying to tell, I think, but it's one of the weirder experiences I've had.
I'm very excited to hear that.
I'm going to ask you one question because I can't remember where in the game it is, and it's not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
Because it's a very weird question.
Okay.
Is where you stopped before or after the hexagon?
I don't recall a hexagon. Okay.
So your experience of this game has been entirely different so far to anyone who's played further.
I'm looking forward to it.
It gets very weird.
So I think it's like a $25 game, isn't it? Around?
Something like that. Yeah, I can't remember the price.
That's what I imagine.
It's not a full heavy price game.
No, it's certainly it's both Gato Roboto and this Devolver Digital games.
Yes,
which are really knocking it out of the park these days.
Publishing a lot.
They're doing great stuff and taking good chances, and everything's coming out at a good quality. It makes me feel that they're giving the developers the time and the support they need to.
A lot of feedback.
Yeah, I mean, the cheapest looking game they've got is that bloody is it Metal Wolf or whatever? The remake of the old.
Oh yeah,
which is one of the most fucking fun games I played all of last year.
Absolutely ridiculous game.
It's like I can't wait to see that. Yeah, bloody good. Oh no, this is also a problem. Calling a game observation.
Oh yeah, it's not an easy one to find.
Not the best.
And that
SOE.
is just the name of the space station you're on.
Yeah, on PS4. Come on, just load internet. Go. Use my interneting. And this is if this is not, we don't know the price because we both played a review code of this, which was provided by them. Also, that's true of Gato Roboto as well, as I was doing it pre-release. I've got a buy button, but not a price next to it.
That's how they get you, Paul.
Bloody these people. I'm there now. Apparently, it's a $30 game.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it seemed like really, really high production value.
It is super high production. It is beautiful.
When they first had the astronaut moving and they had some filters over it, I thought it was footage.
So did I. I 100% thought it was live video.
Yeah, I thought, this is weird to put FMV in this game. And then like the filter went away. I'm like, oh no, there's polygons
there. There are a couple of points you go out on a spacewalk.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's probably the closest I've ever felt to being in space in a game.
Ooh.
Just from the way the movement feels, the way the environment's been built. Like you're on a space station in space. There's not a lot of environment.
Yeah.
But what there is real incredibly
Very
done.
well done. And the fact that it's based on sort of real design, so it just
real
really
design,
made it feel
real
like
locations.
a real lived-in space. It felt, I'm really enjoying it so far.
It was good.
And I'm very excited about
it. It was about 4 or 5 hours to get through it all, I think. Probably could take longer if you're looking to find all the little tidbits of information. There's a lot of story told about the other crew through, audio logs and documents on laptops and stuff like that, which I missed quite a few of.
All those life simulator sort of things. That
there is an in-game way of tracking, not where things are or what you've missed, but like you can see what you've collected and there's empty spots for the ones you haven't. So you can kind of see if you're missing any, but you don't know whereabouts in the game they are or along the progress of the story they are either, because there are points where you probably can't go back and get stuff. But there's a lot of story told kind of just through the environment, which I really enjoy as well.
It seems wild.
It is very wild, and it just gets wilder.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's stylish. It's well put together.
It's got a nice couple of tons in it. The ending is, whilst left me with a lot of questions, they're mostly questions about me wanting to try and find out what was going on. It's very open in that I can't tell if it's open because that's just how they wanted to tell the story, or if because they may be looking at doing another one.
Now I definitely need to finish it. I need to get James and we get to get other 100%. People to finish it just so we can sit around and rant about it.
And when you do, invite me and I'll be a spectator.
Sounds good.
I have things to discuss.
Fabulous. Okay, so that is observation. Not to be concerned with observer or abduction, which some people got it confused with and stuff. It's the badly named observation. Okay, so the other game from the intro that I mentioned, I got Everybody's Golf VR.
Yay.
Now, I don't love golf games, but I like some of them.
I found 2 golf games I've loved.
What's that?
3. 3.
So
Golf Story.
Golf Story?
Obviously.
Kirby's Dream Course?
Well, Everybody's Golf is one of them. I don't count as Kirby's Dream Course as a golf game, actually.
Controversial.
I don't count it as a golf game, even though it, by all rights, it is. To me, it's not.
Fair enough.
The original Everybody's Golf, I did have a lot of fun with. And because I am one of those nerds that likes to watch a lot of Twitch streams, there is Golf with Your Friends, which a lot of people play. That is ridiculous fun.
I actually bought Golf with Your Friends, but I wanted to play it with my friends, and I haven't got any friends that bought it yet.
I have it.
We can play Golf with Your
Friends.
Yeah, let's do it. I love a silly golf game. Like I liked a lot of the Mario Golfs. Especially Mario Golf RPG, which is the proto golf story.
Yeah. See, I've never played that.
It's very good. It has more character development in it because Golf Story is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great game, and a bunch of the 3. I tend to like more fantastic ones, but I was like, this makes sense in VR. Now, one of the this is me being unimaginative and stupid. So I'm like, okay. The room I VR in is the room where this studio is. This table pushes against the back wall. Not a lot of space, but
enough.
Most games it's absolutely fine in. I was like, okay, so if I'm golfing, I've got to be able to move my arm behind me. So step close to the camera that I normally do. We'll be able to see everything. Okay, because I've got to swing from the back to the front. Okay. Then the game starts, and you're looking perpendicular to the pitch. Because it's golf.
Because it's golf, yeah.
And the pitch is out that way, and you just swing from left to right. It's like, obviously, better tracking, better everything. Like, how the hell did I not...
So you're facing the camera and you're standing the way you would in a golf game.
Yeah, I have no danger of hitting everything. So here's the thing. I've played a little bit of golf, not very much. But what I know about golf is how I'm supposed to hold my arms. And the better I am at doing it, the better my hit is. So I think that the tracking actually is pretty good. Yeah, because it's like, if I do it lazy, and like, shit, you can just use one arm and just whack it if you want. You'll hit the ball, but you will slice the shit out of that and do it. If you actually try to swing properly, I do better.
So they've put some effort in to try and make it like playing golf.
Yeah, it feels really good. It took me a little while to get used to the interface, but I'm talking 2 holes.
Fair enough.
Actually being able to, like, you're at the green and actually being able to see the pitch and feel, and the fact that golf doesn't have a lot of resistance when you hit the ball.
No.
You know how much resistance? Oh, about a little vibration in a controller. It feels pretty good. The only thing you miss, of course, is the weight of the club. That obviously that feels different.
Add some weights to your controls.
You could
strap some to your arms.
You 100% could, and it would be fine. So anyway,
tape your controller to
I've
an
only
actual
done
golf club.
short sort of courses so far. I think I'm doing, because I think you can do just 3s. I'm just doing them quick.
If it's anything like the non-VR one, then yeah, I think there's a 3 and then there's the usual 9 and 18.
9 and 18, yeah.
It might be.
So I'm just sort of doing random ones, and I've got the base caddy, and it's all just like, it's all a little bit creepy. Like I was sort of like she's talking, and I was just like putting the move control like in her eye.
That's what VR is for.
Just like okay, she just doesn't respond to anything.
I've never seen anyone pick up any VR game and not do stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just what you do.
It's like, what? Can I see your brain if I push through your face? Ooh,
can I look inside your head?
Exactly. But it's still very, it's quite charming. It maybe takes us a little bit to start things sometimes because I want you to listen to the dialogue, which isn't that interesting. But it did make me go because they got DLC extra caddies. I'm like, oh boy, if they had some wild caddies, maybe I would.
just some weird ones.
Yeah, just like if Octodad was a caddy.
What if there was an Octodad mode?
That would be good. Yeah.
Just the wobbly arm instead.
I mean, there's not a lot to say about it, except that it works. Putting feels good. Driving feels good. There's multiple training modes. The fact that it took me a couple of holes to start getting par pretty decently, and I think I got 1 under. And that was I've only played 12 holes or something all up. Yeah, I get it, and I can get better at it. And because it's the whole everybody's golf thing, there's a big focus on then multiplayer and leaderboards and stuff, and
all the social side of it.
All of that stuff is included. It's very accessible. It looks good, and it just feels good to VR golf. And it's a golf that I don't have, because that's so. When I see new golf things, I'm like, I understand power meters, and here's the thing. I bet playing in VR, you're way worse than you are when you can just point a cursor and then you just go I'm good with timing.
You're not using muscle memory reflex
to
get the perfect shots.
Yeah, you just do
you're actually having to do things.
You can practice swings, and then you push a button to take the actual shot. So, and when you do this practice swing, it shows you the vector it's coming off. So it's okay, that's a bit off. Okay, I seem to get it now. Okay, I got it. Okay, real shot. I fucked it, damn it. Right into the trap. But yeah, and then the caddy gives you feedback as you're going and everything. And it'll be very, very interesting if I play this more to then go play golf.
And see if... that was going to be my follow-up.
Because I am useless on a course. I'm good at mini golf. I mean, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
I can hit a ball at a driving range.
I can't even do that.
But I can't, get hit a fucking hole 9 times out of 10. So it'll be interesting to see if any of those skills are transferable. All I can say is that trying to do the right thing does make me better in the game.
Because it's one of those interesting areas as well for VR, I think. Because obviously virtual driving ranges have been a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
And to take that step into VR, and you gotta sit back and wonder, I think there are some already, at least in the US somewhere, but how long is it before we see a lot of driving ranges just having VR golf?
Yeah.
Where instead of just a straight drive and it gives you, all your stats and whatever else they do. You're just playing golf in VR to get better at playing golf in the real life.
As cool as golf is, and really the thing is, golf, most of the attraction really is walking around with a group of people having a nice afternoon.
Driving the things, isn't it? That's all I've
driving the buggies, yeah. But the truth is, golf is a huge fucking waste. Huge amount of land, huge amount of water.
Massive amount.
It's it's terrible. Give us some good...
ridiculous spotlights.
Exactly. Yeah, so maybe, I'm sure golf isn't going to disappear, but maybe in more problematic areas, maybe not a real golf course in a desert.
Yeah.
Although there is that cool one down Cooper Pedy, which is just hard packed sand, and then there's just a small bit of green.
Can't get it in the sand if everywhere's the sand.
Good. Yeah, so that's Everybody's Golf VR. Okay, anything you'd like to talk about, Sam?
I want to mention how angry I am at Sekiro still.
Oh, please do. Because if you notice, James and I never even tried to play it.
No, it hasn't been talked about. Oh boy, am I...
How's it going?
I am not a stressed person when it comes to games. I love the Souls games.
Yeah.
They are my bread and butter. It took me a while before I got into them. Started with Dark Souls 2, but they very rapidly became my favorite type of game. And purely because there is nothing more exhilarating than when you actually beat a boss. Sekiro has all that, but it's probably the first one where I have actually come close to physically breaking my controller. And at the same time, still know it's my fault for doing so.
Amy says, ugh, every time I go over, it's always Sekiro.
Yeah, so I made a statement to a friend of ours, Elliot, because he's just started playing The Surge.
Oh, yes.
And he's really enjoying The Surge.
It's nice, accessible.
He doesn't like Souls games.
Yes.
The Surge is the entry drug, is the gateway drug to Souls games. Yes. Sekiro is the hard bit. Like, it's the heroine of Souls games, if I can continue that metaphor. But it is so very good. It's just so good.
I don't believe you.
Hard, like difficulty in playing it aside.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's all these people who described it as being a rhythm game, which it very much is. You're learning the movesets of the bosses and when to deflect and all the mechanics aside. As a game, I have never spent so much time exploring a world than I have in Sekiro.
I do. It is the exploring that I want to do.
Other than like MMOs and stuff like that, it is one of the best crafted worlds I've ever put foot in. Hands down.
It makes me jealous because I just know I cannot put in the time
all
to
you
get
have to do,
anywhere
Paul,
in the game.
Just get it on PC and cheat engine your way through it.
Ah.
Tick all the boxes and explore your... Like, you still play the game. But
like I want to have...
I am all for telling you to play this game with God mode on. Like...
See, I mean, like I still...
Because you still get the experience.
I did a lot of Dark Souls. It's not like I need no challenge. But I just know that...
Well, there was... When it first came out, there was all that uproar about the... I think it was PC Gamer, one of the reviewers used a cheat to get through it.
Yeah, he did
and
an
everyone got
article
really upset
through
about it.
Yeah.
And the only thing... All he did was he turned on the... He practiced bosses by slowing down the frame rate of bosses only.
Oh, yeah.
And then he beat the boss on full speed, but he turned on infinite resurrections.
Okay, yeah.
So when you die, usually you only have one. You can come back and straight from exactly where you died, same health on the boss. You come back to his half health. You just tick the box that you just do that as many times as you want. That's fine. You're still beating the game as far as I'm concerned. Like, you're still having to beat the boss.
I do find it just strange the amount of people that take offense at somebody else playing a game a way that they don't appreciate.
Yeah, it's very strange. Especially a single player game. Like, come on, it doesn't even have the Souls multiplayer. It's purely single. But the world crafting in it and the way it's all been built and designed is just beautifully done. And Souls games has it. Like, Souls games has a lot of... It's all very much like you go somewhere in the world and at any given point you can look around from a vantage point and you can see places you've either been or you're going to get to.
Yeah.
And those are the physical in-game locations. They may not have fully loaded in, but they're there.
I mean,
you can see the way the world's put together.
That's what the first Dark Souls was really good at and was very much lost in the second one. Yeah. And the third one,
But Sekiro has it tenfold.
And I do love that.
Branching paths all over the place. It loops back all over the time. You're constantly finding new ways to get to the same areas.
I love in a game like opening a gate and walking through and going like, I know this.
It's got all the gate shortcuts, but there's hundreds of them. It's ridiculous. The other thing it's got that Souls doesn't do, there are parts in the game where when you've progressed the story to a certain point, because it is a lot more story focused as well than Souls games are.
Well, you're playing an actual character.
You're playing an actual character, and there's an actual plot, and you have an end goal that makes sense. But what happens is you'll hit certain thresholds where you'll beat a certain boss or hit some other story, and some of the early areas of the game change. Yeah, and they become your next areas.
Oh, that's good.
So the equivalent to bonfires that you've unlocked relock, and you have to go and get them again because the area's changed. So I can't really spoil it, and it's been out for forever now. But the cool thing is the Ashina Castle, so it's the main kind of hub castle. And like the first stretch of the game is getting into it, working your way all the way up to the top of this big castle area, and fighting the boss at the top of that, and that then becomes your kind of the place you go back to level up and stuff like that. And then you get your quests to go and find some items in other areas of the game, and once you do a couple of those, you're like, okay, I've got to go back now, and I've got to go return these items to continue the story. But you can't just teleport back, because one of the main antagonists has invaded.
Oh, yeah.
With his tougher enemies.
So the whole world just sort of like is a bit more transformative.
It's a little bit living and transformative.
That's cool.
And I super enjoyed going back, and like you've now got new abilities, so new shortcuts have opened up to you. You've unlocked new things, so like a lot more opens up. You know the layout of the area, but enough has changed that it's new, and there's new enemies, but the old ones are still there, so they're fighting.
Oh, that's always good as well,
because it's like these soldiers are now invading, and the soldiers that you were beating before are now fighting back.
Okay, so you convinced me. Cheat engine, Sekiro. I'll pick it up before the end of the year. So
it is a really nicely crafted world. It is.
It does sound really good.
But the flip side of that is the difficulty for those that are playing normally.
Yeah. The amount of people that I know, like, either liking it or hate it, telling me the exact same story. Is like, I spent 10 hours on a boss. I'm like, 10 hours on a fucking boss?
Amy was in the house when I eventually beat one of the earlier bosses in the game. And it very much feels like a final boss fight. Yeah. There's 2 phases and a surprise third phase that they don't tell you about till you get to it. I made it to that third phase 4 times. Beat him on the 4th time I got to that third phase. Yeah. I tried that boss 67 times.
Yeah.
The third phase is the easiest one of the 3.
Well, that's always like if the final phase is the hardest phase, that's like the cruelest thing in the game. Yeah. Normally, it's like you get the final phase, maybe the most visually impressive phase, but normally not so bad to actually beat. Because
I've already seen the final boss of this game. I've seen people beat him, and I'm terrified to get to that point. I may not actually fight the final boss. I might just consider myself dumb when I get to there.
May I suggest cheat engine?
I could, yeah, exactly.
I'll give it a shot. You got this far.
I'll give it a go.
You got this far.
But yeah, there's a lot of Souls as well. You kind of get that. There's a lot of samey tactics used. There's a lot of bosses that are just big dudes with big weapons that you're just dodge rolling around until they die. A lot of the strategies don't change. I feel in Souls. Yeah. Souls is very much around how you build your character. Whereas Sekiro, every boss, or almost every boss, is different. Almost every boss teaches you a different way of playing the game. And there's some surprises in there too.
Cool. And that's why I don't just want to like totally cheat my way through.
It does a really good job of teaching you how to play a game. And it pulls the tricks where it's like, it'll teach you how to do something, and then you'll hit an enemy, and you're like, oh, I know how to do this, and then it doesn't work against that enemy, so you have to relearn the fight. Yeah,
that's what I don't want to be totally removed from that, but I do want to not do the 67 attempts.
No, yeah,
I'm good at like
it took a while.
Like 20 attempts is like where that's where I'm going to be.
On the flip side, there's been some bosses I've ran into not realizing there was a boss there, and I've done it first try, just clutch it through.
I think I might have said this on the show with James that I'm terrified to replay Dark Souls because there's a bunch of bosses I've never died to, and I've like always killed the first time, and now I'm like, I don't want to fight them again and find out that I just cheesed my way through. It's like Gaping Dragon, easiest boss I've killed 5 times. Never hurt me once.
Gaping Dragon was easy.
Yeah, that's what I was. And then all these people going like, oh fucking Gaping Dragon. I'm like, what's hard about the Gaping Dragon? And the Taurus demon. I'm like, I just went
first time for me too.
Got him in the face. Yeah. It's done. Just jumped off a cliff and stabbed him. It was done. Anyway,
I feel like I'm going to go back and play the Souls games after playing Sekiro, and I feel like I'm going to be better at them.
Yeah. Well, it's like now when I go back and play any Souls, I'm so much more aggressive after Bloodborne. And I'm like, shields, why would I have a shield? Right? If someone fires an arrow at me, I'll just step around it.
Sekiro's got that. Sekiro is teaching you all the timing. You learn to read the enemies so much better. So I feel like going back to Souls now, like even if I take a dodge roll build, I'm gonna know when.
Dark Souls is so telegraphed, and most things are so slow. It's like, if you just go in confidently, you don't need to play defensively. It's fine. If you get stuck, roll out of the way. There you go, done. It's solved every encounter. Okay, so that's Sekiro. Okay, so Darkwood I've been playing quite a lot of.
Yes, I've looked at this.
Came out on Switch. I kickstarted it, and it's a wonderful game. It's a Polish developer, and it's based in sort of Polish forests. And you start the game, I suppose I don't really need to give, because it's sort of like you play one character, then that little vignette starts, and then you play another character. But anyway, when you're in the main game, you wake up, you're just a man in the forest, and things have been shit for a while. The Darkwood surrounds everything, and all paths are gone. And you're in a house, and there's a stove, and the stove sort of emits something that you sort of think keeps you safe, and you can cook up mushrooms in it, and you can inject those mushrooms if you get enough of them to give yourself an ability. But if you get an ability, you also have to take a detrimental trait.
Oh yeah.
So you don't necessarily want to do
safety
stuff.
stove.
So it's in many ways a survival horror game. It's played top down, and it is one of the most stylish horror games ever made. So the general gist of it is, let's just say during the daytime, it's top down, it's 2D. You can see the whole world around you, except you can't. You can just sort of see, like the general. You can see there's a house there. You can see what the general floor plan is or anything. You can't see any details.
So it's kind of fog of war-y.
Yes, it's very fog of war-y, but you have your cone of what you can see. So it means that in a horror game, you could have like a tree, but when you actually look at the tree, you can see there's a corpse tied to it.
Yeah, okay.
So you get details when you look at it. So at most, because you're in the center of the screen and you have a 45-degree angle, I suppose 90-degree angle in daytime, you can only see at most a quarter of the screen at once.
Right.
But it also means, like, if you're, say, getting chased by a fucking dog...
You can't see it unless you look
behind you. You can't see the dog, but you can just hear it gnashing at behind you.
Oh, that's not good.
It's so effective, everything. So basically at daytime, you go around, you're scavenging, getting materials, trying to build things, you're meeting some characters, you're working out things in the world. Everything's all sort of broad enough that it's mysterious, but not so broad you don't have a goal. You know what you're trying to do. I've got to go here. I'm going to explore places on the way, and I'll discover plenty of creepy shit like, oh, look, I can get down into the tunnels under this house. Do I want to be in the tunnels under this house? Oh, fuck, run, motherfucker. Anyway, but at nighttime, you can't be outside. You're going to get torn apart. So you've got to be back at home. You want to have the doors and windows sealed up as best you can. You want to put traps down, and you want to turn on the lights. So you've got to have a generator.
So the nighttime's the very survival part.
The nighttime's and most of the time I just stand in the room for the whole night. I'm just like, okay, it's officially nighttime now. I'm just going to stand here with my torch.
It's like your first night in Minecraft.
And I've got a stick with a nail in it, and I am just going to stand here looking at the door. And almost every fucking night, because I put a dresser in front of the door, and the door just swings open. I'm just like... I'm like, do I move the dresser to close the door? And
the dresser is the door now.
So one night I did, and immediately this fucking thing runs into the room, starts beating the shit out of me. I run backwards. Fuck. I fall into one of my own traps, which is like a chain trap on the ground. I'm tied to it. I whack it once in the face, and it runs away. Shit. How do I get out of my trap? I've got like no health. Oh, fuck, what do I do if I do? Runs back in. It kills me. I'm like, I don't know, 8 days or something into the game at this point. I'm like, nothing has ever been... I've never been killed before. I'm like, fuck, what is the penalty for death in this game? Shit. Oh, fuck. Sorry for swearing, but that's how I felt. And the penalty is that you awaken the next morning in your house.
Oh.
And you don't have your stuff. You have to go to your body, but my body was about 3 meters from me.
That's all right, then.
The actual penalty is that if you survive a night, other than if you fight things, you get resources off them. But also all the vendors in the game you gain reputation with.
Okay.
So
in a kind of, wow, you survived.
Kind
That's
of
amazing.
Kind of, yeah. And it's an interesting trading system in the game because you don't have to go like for like. You can say, well, I've got this button and I'll have that handgun, please. But it kills your fucking reputation.
Yeah, right.
Basically, reputation is currency.
Okay.
So it may actually be worth for you to go like, here's a bunch of handguns I found. Can I have a button?
Better reputation is better bartering.
Yeah. So it gives you this leeway.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool. And the night before this night, I'm just there in the room, just spinning around, just checking the windows. Oh, windowsill. Then suddenly there's some dialogue that appears in text just next to me. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I spin around and there's this guy sitting on the bed.
Oof.
I'm like, got my stick.
Do I hit him?
Yeah, I don't know if I hit him. So I just spent the rest of the night standing about a meter away from this guy with a stick in his face going, I don't know what you're going to do. And then at morning, I turned around and then he disappeared. But I'm like, fuck this
It's just
game.
sleep paralysis. It's fine.
The fact that... So this is on normal mode. That's the penalty for dying. The fact that the penalty for dying isn't too bad.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
You lose what's on you. So even if you're out exploring and you get trapped somewhere, you just lose what's on you. You can have storage at home, and that's all fine. As soon as that happened, because it was a very effective, and I was enjoying it, but it was also like I had to take breaks because I was so anxious in the game. Now that I know it's not the end of the world if I die, that gives me a little bit of leeway.
It's not all bad.
And
you can kind of plan ahead for it too at that point. You can kind of not take everything with you.
Yeah, and it's just so many mysterious elements, and the characters are really spooky and well written. Like, traders that have their faces described. Like the first trader you meet is this wolf and stuff like that. Like the world is very interesting. It's very foreboding. And just the effects, like, even if you're looking forward in the game, because there's woods everywhere, and how do you represent woods in a 2D space?
Yeah, that's difficult because...
So they sort of have these overlays of trees. And once you're sort of under the canopy, you can see around. But even when you're outside the canopy, you can see ahead of you, but you can't see the detail of what's there. So it's very much proximity based to things as well as line of sight. And the whole thing comes together to just make you feel very uneasy. It's very easy to be lost. The only map you have is hand-drawn and it does not track your actual position. There are, you're looking for any landmarks you can, like general directions you go. It's just super fucking effective. It's like the best actual scary horror game, but still fun to play. Yeah. And there's the jump scares there's nothing's going to just at you. No. It's foreboding.
Tension.
I can hear something scratching, and then and then it's like, what is that? And it's like something is running towards me. Something's running towards me. Fuck! And you start running. What can I do? I've just got a piece of meat. Can I throw it? Will it like the meat? It didn't even care about the meat. Keep running.
I am the meat.
You're just closing doors behind you. Like good crafting systems. Like the interface is not the best, but still very well thought together. Like you can very quickly do things once you're used to it. You're upgrading.
Interface for stuff like games like that's difficult as well.
Yeah, because there's a lot of inventory management and crafting. And
I always look at games like Stardew for things like that.
You're
getting a lot done with this, so
exactly.
You get some leeway with kind of
and just
interaction.
Going into areas, finding objects that they don't go in your inventory because they're just like world objects, but then you can show them to other characters, and that's how it's progressing the plot and stuff. It's so effective. It's the best. Horror design, I've never seen another game that looks like it. It's so effective. The scares are great. It's the tension. The only thing is I actually like the fact that I know I can just die and go in the morning now, because sometimes just waiting out that night, I don't want to do it. Right, and just I'll just go outside, let something hit my face. They need a suicide button.
Skip forward.
It's I can't be bothered doing another night right now. Too tense, and I don't have the resources for it anyway. Yeah. I know I'm not going to survive. Just kill me now.
Is there option to put your head in the oven or something?
Oh, they should. That would be good. But that might be against the spirit of the game.
Possibly.
I mean, it's very, very down. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying playing through Darkwood properly. Cool.
I have to bump it up the list a little bit.
Yeah, super highly recommended for me. I mean, this week is full of super highly recommended things.
Yeah.
What about you?
What else is on my list? I've forgotten.
I can show you your list. You're like James.
Yeah, I'm good at forgetting things.
That's all right.
The VA11 Hall A.
Yes, have you been playing the Switch version?
I have.
I also have been playing the Switch version.
It came out quite a while ago.
This is not the Switch version. It's only been out for about a month, I think.
The game on PC came out quite a while ago.
Valhalla, it's spelt in weird ASCII.
Yeah. Well,
or Leet speak.
It's cyberpunk speak, Paul.
It's cyberpunk bartending.
So this game was on my radar when it first came out on PC. I saw snippets of it before it released, I think.
Yeah, well, there was...
And then it came out and I was like, that looks really cool. I should get that. And then I never did.
There was a prototype or a demo that was quite early.
It was made for a Cyberpunk Game Jam.
Yeah, so I played that version long before it became a main
And then they went, this is pretty cool. Let's make it into a full game, as people at Game Jams often do. And what they've ended up with is quite a very good intro.
So
it's a good visual novel.
It's a visual novel. You're playing a bartender. And other than just being able to talk to people, the other interaction is you making drinks.
Yeah.
But the drinks you choose to make can sometimes affect the conversations.
Yes.
Which is just a fun idea.
I've messed up one so far and I'm annoyed.
Oh, yes. How did you mess it up?
So those listening as well. When the customers ask for drinks, at first it's very straightforward. They'll just say I want this drink.
Yeah.
You go into your little recipe book, you find the name of the drink.
I said I want it strong, damn it.
And if you want it strong, you make it strong, there's various ways to do different mixes, or there's one ingredient that just ups the alcohol content the more you put in.
Yeah.
But there are points where they'll ask for cryptic orders. So they'll say, give me something classy and manly, and you have to go find the drinks that are tagged classy and manly. But there's a couple of points in the game where you meet a character, and they talk, and then they ask for a drink, and the way they ask for it doesn't match anything in your list. This was close to that. A guy asked for a 17. Now, the drinks in your recipe book are numbered, so I gave him the one that was number 17. I went, this seems like a logical solution to this puzzle. Not the correct answer, but it seemed logical.
He wanted the almost legal.
He wanted a drink that had 17 ingredients.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds like too much for a drink.
Of which there are none. So what you have to do is you have to find a drink where you can put in that ingredient that's just the alcohol content, and then put it in until there's 17 ingredients. And give him that. It's the one thing I looked up afterwards, because at the end of each day, it gives you that report, and you get the little bonus if you didn't fuck up. And I didn't get the bonus, and I was like, no. I've had it every single day other than that one.
I had an umami rum on the weekend at a fence.
Rum?
Yes, it was with mushrooms in it.
That sounds delicious.
It was one of the best fucking drinks I've ever had.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I want to go.
Mushroom rum.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking good.
Nice.
I need to go back. Yes. So you're enjoying
I'm enjoying it.
I'm still very early in it. I'm playing too much.
Cyberpunk as a setting in worlds. I mean, I like most things as a setting in worlds if it's been built well.
I find cyberpunk bartending is we've got a few entries in there now. Well, the Red Strings Club last year. Yeah. And
it's an interesting one that's... But for a setting for a visual novel, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
To place you as a bartender, and then it's real easy to bring characters in.
Yeah, it's an excuse for
they just drop characters in, and there doesn't have to be a reason for any of those characters to know each other. You don't have to meet them anywhere. We ingest
liquids.
They're just people coming to a bar to drink. Good stuff.
And also, they can not even come in to drink. They might come in because...
just come in and have a chat. Or
they're coming in because they need information on someone that does drink. Yeah, it's
private
It's
eye.
a public space that someone can enter and talk to somebody.
It works really well.
Yeah.
And I think the way you kind of learn about what's going on in the world around the bar and kind of, the different personalities of each character that you meet and stuff, it's written really well because it's all just chatty dialogue. Like, it's just someone talking to a bartender. There's no... novel exposition stuff going on. You're just picking stuff up from conversations, which I really like.
Yeah,
as a way of explaining a world. But yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a lot. It is one of those games where I'll pick it up and play, a couple of in-game days and then put it down again.
Yeah,
it's a very good relaxing game. I do like that you can choose what music is in the jukebox.
Oh yes, there's so much of it.
There's over 100 tracks.
Yeah.
And some of them you have to buy or unlock in the game.
Yeah.
But you pick 20, is it 20 tracks, I think?
Some of that, it's quite a lot. It took a while for me to choose my whole jukebox.
There's 16 or 20 tracks you can pick from at the start and after your break each day. So there's 2 times each day you can change it from the 100 and something tracks in the actual game. And they're very cyberpunky 80s. Retro, there's some jazz in there. It's all synth. Yeah. There's a couple of slightly more heavier but still synth tracks.
I like sort of stuff that's similar to the soundtrack to Drive. I think that's where I was picking a lot of stuff. Yeah.
But I think I've played it enough now where I'm only swapping out 1 or 2 tracks every day because I've found the ones
these are the ones that
I like having in the background. I feel like it was a nice touch to add that.
I think it's actually super
and it doesn't affect the gameplay at all. As far as I'm aware, at least, there is no interaction between the music.
That's
what
one of
you
the
choose
things
and what happens.
When we were talking about Shakedown Hawaii the other week, one of the things that's really lacking in that game is radio stations in the cars. You can't. You gotta have it. It's so important for games like this. If you have a game with a car,
you put a radio in it.
Exactly. There's sort of a visual novel that I was tossing around some design with James that I wanted to make, and it was about a car trip and.
You have to have the music.
Half the design. Well, I mean,
just radio.
Because ideas are are worthless.
Yeah.
I will just my main concept here. So whoever was sitting shotgun controlled the music. So if you as the player character, you would load in your own either to a Spotify playlist or just a directory of MP3s. But when other characters were sitting in that seat, you got their choice of music.
So you'd have to build a playlist for each character.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You may not get any control over that. You might be able to tell them that a song sucks, and they might feel bad because of
Go to change it and they slap your hand away.
Yeah, it's like, no, I've got the fucking aux cord. It's like, that's part of like going in a car trip with someone. It's like sharing your music. And
I'm very much for someone's playlist telling you who they are as a person.
I think so too.
As a D&D player, one of the core things I do for a lot of characters and NPCs is create a playlist because music works really well to get into kind of the mindset of a character. That'd be a nice way to. That little touch would be pretty cool.
If only I did the other work.
And it's very important in a game when you're in a car.
Yeah.
Yes, in Valhalla.
Yes,
it works nicely.
Yes, it's you can get it. Is it on the other consoles as well? I can't remember.
I believe it is.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Get it on most things.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's time for Paul's VR corner. VR corner with Paul.
VR corner.
So I've been mainly playing one game, and it's a game called Torn, and I've been really enjoying Torn. And today I decided, I wonder what the reviews for Torn.
Were they not good?
Not fantastic. Not terrible, but not fantastic.
The name is telling me nothing.
Okay, so Torn is, it starts somewhat like Edith Finch.
Okay.
So you're walking through a forest towards a weird-looking house. Now, here's one of the things where the game is bad. So you get to choose between whether you want to teleport, whether you want to zip to the next location, or whether you want free movement.
Ooh.
Now, free movement will make you barf.
Never pick free movement.
Especially when you're in a forest, going up and down.
Never pick free movement.
So I'm I'm fine with teleporting. Teleporting is what I prefer. Problem with this game, you can only teleport one step forward.
Oh no, so you have to keep doing it.
So you're walking through a forest and you go dun, 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 fucking hell. So
you get bored straight away.
I put it on free movement and they still walk really slow. I guess I'll just wait till I get to this house. Get there. Okay, great. Back to teleport. Okay. So that's a bad choice. And they should have fixed it. They should have
just be point and go.
Exactly. And
or at least marker points.
And sure, okay, maybe you don't want them to be able to jump between barriers or something, but it's just don't let them do that.
No, just have barriers.
Yeah, I mean, there are things like if there's
a barrier there, put a teleport
if there's an object where you want to stand, you can't teleport there. So you already had the technology to not let me teleport somewhere. So whatever. Anyway, so you get in this house, and it's full of wacky contraptions. It's like an old house with lots of cables and steampunky stuff in it. And one of the first things you get in there is that there's just some boxes in front of you, and you just whack them, and you realize everything's physics objects in this game. It's not very static. So cool.
There's potential for things to go flying.
Yes. You do a lot of throwing things, because one of the main tools is basically a gravity gun in this game. And pick things up and move it. So the game has a few points to it. So once you're sort of into it, and the plots will... Basically, at the plot at the moment, there's a character which is a blob, and... he is the owner of the house, and you're finding bits of his memory, and you're returning them, and he's gonna... And who could work out the twist that's going to be coming in this game? A mad character that's been locked away in a thing and doesn't know why, and his memories have been trapped away.
No.
Who knows if he'll be a good or bad character later? I mean, I haven't finished it, so we'll
clearly
see.
The protagonist.
But yes, it's not. I'm not going to be shocked at the turn, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe wrong.
There will be a turn.
So the game is a few bits of gameplay. One is that when you use this gravity gun, when you point it, it's a flashlight, and what that flashlight sees is circuits in the ground and the environment.
Okay.
So you need to find objects that you can then place in the environment to complete these circuits. And so it's basically just you're searching and then you're moving objects around. It's not particularly taxing. And then the other bit is collecting these memories that I mentioned. And these memories are just inside random objects.
Oh, okay.
So say there's a bookshelf. Doesn't like the light pointed at them. So you got your flashlight. And you're moving along the books, and then suddenly one of the books will just jump off the shelf. And you go, and grab it. And as soon as you grab it, it flies off and goes to this contraption.
Finding weird insects almost.
Yes. So people...
chasing spiders.
One of the things I was finding people didn't like about this game is the puzzles are very straightforward. It never really gets taxing. This isn't a puzzle game.
It doesn't sound like one, no.
This is Ellie Bits 2. Did you play Ellie Bits?
No.
Do you remember what it was? It's a Wii launch title.
I don't. I wiped the Wii out of my memory.
So the Ellie Bits, which was a game that I enjoyed, but it was underpowered. The Wii could not run it properly. Was you're in these like mostly domestic environments, and these little creatures, these little electrical creatures, were hidden in all the objects,
so
and you had to like find them under things and like grab them and pull them and everything. And I'm just playing this game like this is just a hide and seek game with it, and especially bookcases. I just love just going like. Gotcha! Because they'll just pop off the shelf and try running away. And I'm just like...
It's just hide and seek, find the evil blob man.
I'm finding it just very satisfying to push around objects. And when I can't find the last one, I go like, okay, so this side of the room, there's nothing in. And I just start throwing every object across the room, going like, okay, motherfucker, you got to be in one of these things. Here we go. And I'm being very completionist because you don't have to get all of them.
Right, yeah. Okay.
But I'm getting all of them.
You might as well. If you're gonna do it like that,
and it looks really, really nice.
Which is a plus.
You get this. So at each environment, each room is basically its own little puzzle, and when you do it, you go into this sort of virtual space, and you have to listen to the blob talk, and it's okay. It's not brilliant, but I just want to get back to searching the environment for things. That's all I'm getting out of it. I really, really having a fun time.
So the thing is, like VR games do, even if the game is bad, two of the core things that everyone loves doing in VR is throwing shit around.
Yeah.
And throwing shit around. Like, it's the first thing anyone does if they're in VR and they can pick up an object. Doesn't matter what that object is. Like, it could be a baby. You're going to throw it.
Like when I get to like a game that's really static and fixed,
you check if physics is there.
Yeah.
And you throw shit. And
this game is about throwing shit around.
That's fun. If the game's not fun, that is still fun. Because it's something we can't do in real life without consequences.
Like there's curtains you can tear.
Yeah.
There's big floppy tubes you can pull around.
Just give me a room full of objects I can interact with in a way that makes sense and it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Done.
So Torn is currently on sale, which is because that's what I do when I want to play a VR game. I go, okay, Sony Store, show me filtered on sale VR games. Here's a list of the games I have to choose from because I'm not paying full price for any of these things. Oh god, they released the Five Nights at Freddy VR game.
They did, yes.
It's like $45 fucking
a
dollars.
lot of money.
You know what would be good? 15 and under.
How many of those games are there now?
I think there's 5 main
more
ones.
More than 5 nights.
And then there's the weird like pizza RPG.
A lot of.
Which, did you play the RPG?
I didn't, no.
Surprisingly, it's surprisingly weird, but weird and not terrible, but weird. And then this one, I think there's like a sister store and stuff. I don't know.
There's a lot.
It seems that he's made a lot. He's really surely rolling
going
money.
ham on that.
So yes, Torn was my VR game.
Fun.
And then I'm just going to continue in here because this is the big game, the surprising big game of the last week.
Yeah. I haven't played it. I've watched a lot of people play it.
So Dauntless came out on PS4, PC. Is it on Xbox?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So it is free-to-play Monster Hunter.
Yeah. With full crossplay.
Yes, full crossplay. And it's just one of those things because James was playing it at his place and he wanted to play with Cheryl. And she just got on PS4 and he got on the PC and they just played together. Yeah. It's one of those things you go like, oh,
it's great.
It should always just be here and work. It just makes life so much easier. As far as like a Monster Hunter experience goes, at first I thought it was Monster Hunter Lite.
That's what it looked like initially to me.
And whilst it doesn't go quite to the depth of the world and like the interactions, though, because Monster Hunter World was another step up even from regular Monster Hunter.
It's very involved.
When it comes to the combat, as soon as I realized that the hammer weapons are also a gun, I was like, oh, Monster Hunter!
Yeah. With the lance gun and Monster Hunter.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so I've got a sledgehammer, but I also have to load it with ammo, and it has an active reload function, and I have to once I get the combo up, if I hit trigger after that, I'll fire off all 4 shells at once, and then I can do an active reload after that. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get it now. So still, it's a little bit Monster Hunter Lite,
it's got all the tricks.
But it's not that much Monster Hunter Lite. It actually has a lot of it in it.
There's a lot of more involved bits. Yeah.
And when I first started playing, I got to the World Hub, and it's a social space, people running around. I was quite underwhelmed with the direction of the game because I couldn't do anything in the world. There was every vendor I went up to just said hello. There was nothing to do. And I had no idea where anything was. This is the problem of me not playing MMOs and stuff.
Yeah.
I just had to look at the compass and look at the thing it wanted me to go to. I just had to walk to each thing individually and get tutorialized.
The induction stage.
Yes, where Monster Hunter World had the brilliant induction
Just
where
tossed you in.
Well, you actually got a tour.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, well, welcome to the town. Here's what this is. Here's what this is. Here's what this is. Now fucking go do it." This was just more like, "Oh no, you just have to follow the." So once you just follow the icons on the compass and you'll be fine. Matchmaking, like as of today, they were saying 6 million people are playing. It is matchmaking normally takes me under 30 seconds. A few people have got like not being able to play, like being in a queue. Even when people posted that they were currently in a queue, I started just to load it up. I just got straight in. So it seems like they're doing pretty well with it.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I do remember seeing that they cut down on server capacities after launch, just because they weren't expecting so many people to play. And as far as I'm aware, they're just all of their work right now is on upping those server capacities.
Trying to manage that load.
Managing the server
But they seem to be doing pretty well.
It does look like they're doing a solid job.
Like I've never had a match drop on me or anything.
It hasn't had any of those MMO launch issues.
Yeah. And it's and so far, whilst it does like every time I log in it says, "Hey, do you want to get the elite pass?" I'm like, "No, thank you."
It's a battle pass, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a battle pass. Yeah. And the thing is, you still have a battle pass even at the moment, except there's 2 tiers of it.
Yeah, so
there's the everyone tier and there's the paid tier. So you just get more stuff if you're in the paid. And I assume that means that if I did pay, I'd get all the elite stuff that I haven't collected yet.
Usually you would, if they've done it like all the other games that do battle passes.
Yeah, it just seems very well put together. They very quickly get you into customizing your character.
Yeah.
Like the transmog items haven't been as regular as I thought they were, because I used one. I'm like, oh, they'll be dropping all the time. Nope. Those haven't. But you can dye everything really well. I very quickly had a character that was mine, and which is good. And it has a good variety of weapons. And one of the things I know that they're talking about is that they are not set with what they have. They're like, no, we're going to keep adding more weapon types.
Monster Hunter's always been the core set.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them, and you can really... It's really easy to find your niche, but they've never really changed it up that much.
Because at the moment they've got a sword, a hammer, an axe, scythes, sort of a pokey lancy thing.
There's dual-wield pistols, I believe.
The pistols, which I was using for a while, which again, so they've got a weird thing. So to use them effectively, you manually reload, but you have to manually reload next to the monster because you like suck their essence out into the pistols. So even though obviously pistols long-range weapon, you actually have to go close in order to be effective.
Yeah.
So it's like they just got lots of little tricks and things to learn, and that's very Monster Hunter-y ideas.
Very Monster Hunter, yeah.
So I think it's just super effective, and it works well, and it's free, and certainly at the moment, I'm completely unpressured to spend any money in it. I can certainly see how people could, and probably for me, it'll be a pretty average just jump in and play once in a while for fun.
Yes.
It will probably... I don't know how it'll go with scaling if I want to go jump in with my friends that play more. Probably not well.
Yeah, I imagine, from what I've seen, because it's got the different ranks of HUDs, like Monster Hunter does.
But then you can always just say, like...
Your friends can drop in on an early one, but you could always tell them to wear, like, lower level gear.
You can just say, like, hey, guys, let's just...
Don't use your best shit, please.
Yeah, so like, how about you level up something that you don't use, and we'll just go back and do that instead.
From what I've seen, there's enough things in the game that, like, unless you're actively trying to make everything high level, you're always going to have a lower level.
Basically, at the beginning of the game, it was, what can I put here? Sorry, I just got distracted by the chat for a second. It's like, okay, what have I got option wise? Oh, okay, well I can buy whatever I want here. That's great. And then as soon as I buy whatever I want, I open up the next tier, and suddenly there's, I can only choose one of these 3, and then that opens the next tier, and there are 17 things. And it's like, okay, yeah, I can see how you can spend a lot of time building up everything in this game, and I'm sure drop rates like vary depending on what. It just seems very well designed and works well. It's got. Yeah, I'll keep playing it. Looks good and plays well. Although at the beginning there were like 5-minute hunts. I'm like, perfect. This is the casual Monster Hunter I want.
It doesn't stay that way, does it?
No, most of mine are 15 to 20 minutes now, which is still not as bad as some of them.
No, some of the Monster Hunter is like an hour, hour and a half at a stretch.
But then also I'm still early levels in this game. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe the really high stuff.
Although I think after 20 minutes ish, at least on where I am. Like, there's a danger level that goes up.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't...
Like a timer, hey?
At a certain point, you can't resurrect people and stuff. It's just like, if people are dead here, they're dead. So there is sort of a hard limit on it. Okay. That's cool. Elsewise, you want to look at your list again? See if there's.
I think the only thing left on there is the Dead Cells DLC.
Yes.
And a tiny note to say that I'm playing Final Fantasy VII.
And what brought that on?
Hilariously, the lack of news on the remake. I went, well, all the Final Fantasies are coming out on Switch, so I'll just do that. Okay. I started playing 7, and 2 days later, they released a trailer for the remake. But I don't care.
How do you pronounce the woman who dies' name in that game?
Here's the fun facts for you, Paul.
Oh, good.
She has 2 names.
Oh, is that the problem?
So, her name is Aeris with an S. When it got ported, when Final Fantasy VII initially got ported to US, it got retranslated to Aerith with TH at the end.
Okay.
Which has been fixed to Aeris in, I think, the PC port.
Okay. Well, the good thing about this story is I was still just wrong.
It might be the other way around, but it's essentially that. Like, so, she has a name, it got mistranslated with the other version. Yeah. And then the later remake, which is what's out on Switch and what you can get on the PC and stuff like that, has fixed it back to what it should be. So there's 2 names.
So the good news is that neither of those names are what I've always called her. So I've been wrong
just
for a
Flower
long
Girl.
time.
Just call her Flower Girl.
No, we always called her Ares.
Oh, okay.
And it's like we played Final Fantasy VII when it first came out, and I haven't touched it since. In my head, it was always there, and I'm just listening to other people talking about it the other day.
It might be. I could be the one who's pronouncing it
no,
wrong.
everyone I've listened to recently talking about it, it's just like Ares. I'm like, have I been wrong all these years? It's totally. And it seems it's true. I've been wrong. Yeah. I mean, I didn't look it up on my own. It's been known to happen.
What I should do is go and watch. I forgot the name of it, but the movie
Advent Children,
and find out if they say her name in it.
Oh, they probably do. But I didn't want to watch it. It looked not good.
It's very anime.
Maybe.
But yes, I've been replaying Final Fantasy VII on the Switch because I've been wanting to for quite a while now. It is, like most people my age, part of my childhood. I remember sitting and watching my brother playing it. I remember laughing when one of the characters said "but." It wasn't even the word "but," as in like the part of the body. It was just like it was.
But what about
Barrett? Barrett says no buts, and I found it hilarious because I was, I don't know, like 6.
Yeah, but butts are pretty funny.
But yeah, so I went, you know what? I'm just gonna replay it. It's come out on the Switch. I'm gonna pick up, the others that have come out on Switch as well, 9 and 10 and 12.
Is 9 coming out?
Yeah, I believe so. Is it 9? I don't know.
Because 9's the one that never gets ported because they lost the source code.
There's a bunch of them that are coming out.
Yeah.
That are out now.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
I know 10 and 10-2 and 12 definitely have been. I know 7 is. I believe 9 was on there. I might be wrong.
No, 9 looks like it's on shitloads of stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Because 11 and 14 are the MMOs.
Yeah.
And 8 was the one that people seem to like that I didn't.
8 had the Gunblade, which I forever make fun of. But 9 was the sort of old school, a bit more chibi design stuff in it. Yeah. Which, well, not really chibi, but just a bit more old school in its fantasy design. And 10 was when they were doing the sports ball.
Yeah, 10 was the sports ball.
Yeah. 11 was MMO.
And then I haven't played 12.
Yeah. 12 was when you were programming AI as your companions.
Don't know.
I think. And then, 13 was the Crazy Corridors.
Yeah, 14's the MMO.
Yeah.
And 15's the weird one.
15's the road trip.
15's the anime cowboy trip.
Yeah. I really wanted that game to be stronger. There's so many elements of that I like. That's the game that actually inspired the indie thing that I was talking about doing with James. Yeah. We were like,
because it's road tripping.
Yeah, we wanted to do a proper road trip.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's because I felt like there's so much in the game is going back and forth between places. That's not a road trip. Do you know what a fucking road trip is?
That's just traveling.
Yeah. That's
commutes.
That's just commuting.
So replaying it, I'm very interested to see where they go with the remake.
Yeah.
Purely because I know they are changing a lot and adding a lot from what we've heard.
Well, I think they have to add because
there is a lot of parts of 7 that frustrate me.
Yeah.
Now, because this is the fancy port remake, it has the cheat buttons. And I've been using them.
Oh, yeah.
It has the button where you just give me max health and limit break all the time. And it has the button that is 3 times game speed. And that's the one I'm using the most.
Yeah.
There's a lot of walking in that game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pointless walking. I'm very happy to be able to speed that up.
But you can look at the now not so impressive vistas.
Yeah, well, they're still okay.
Yeah. They're evocative, and of course, and we have nostalgia.
I think the open world obviously doesn't hold up because it is a flat plane with a bunch of geometry on it.
It'll be very interesting to see what they do. I would
like to see what they do for that.
Yeah.
The like city locations and stuff like that still hold up fairly nicely because they're all just painted 2D backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like they look real good. Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it.
But what you actually were going to talk about was the Dead Cells DLC.
Yes, Dead Cells DLC. Which I found
Rise of the Giants, is it?
Rise of the Giants. Yeah. It came out on PC a few months ago.
Okay.
And it's just dropped on the Switch and maybe on the consoles. I don't know where the console releases were.
I think the Switch might have been ahead of the others.
The first interesting thing I'll say about this is that they've done it weirdly. Because it's free DLC. And it's in 2 parts, kind of. So I thought I had it. Because the game updated.
But you had to go actually buy it and download it.
And I had all the DLC stuff in the patch. Like there was all the rebalance, new items. You could see where the new area was going to be. All in the patch. I finished and beat the boss for the very first time I've ever done it in Dead Cells.
Yeah.
Which is a testament to their rebalancing work. Because I've never been able to do it. Which is the first barrier to getting to the DLC content.
Yeah.
You have to have done a completed run at least once. I did that. It did the little thing that tells you, oh, the DLC's happened. Giant skeleton disappears. Giant door is now broken down. Go to enter the giant door. To enter here, you need the DLC. Press A to go to the eShop. You press A and it loads forever. So they broke that. I don't know if it's been fixed since, but you have to go into the eShop to the Dead Cells listing, which you have to search for because the eShop, finding anything in the eShop's a pain in the ass.
Well, you did
go to the DLC and download it.
You didn't need to search for it because I can tell you exactly why they did this. Yes,
Oh.
because they've released a bundle.
There's a bundled version.
Yes, the bundle, which is now back on the front page.
Yeah,
is
okay.
Dead Cells and the new DLC, which is free.
So my query is, can you still go and buy just the base game?
I bet you can.
Because it's still listed in the eShop.
Yeah. I bet you can, but it's just like...
So they've done it as a marketing play, basically.
Yeah, they've done it to get it back on the front page because eShop is so terrible with its finding. Yeah.
That makes sense then.
It's Discovery, sorry.
Yeah, but nowhere kind of lets you know you have to... Like, the game patched when the DLC came out. I think it actually patched a few hours before the DLC hit the eShop. So I was like, oh, cool, good to go. And the menu screen says Rise of the Giants on it. It's got the version number. There's nothing telling you actually have to go get it until you try.
You gotta go push that buy button.
And because that access was then broken, it was interesting. I have not actually gone into the new area yet because I have yet to find out how.
Yep.
So essentially what happens is the giant doorway at the start of the game is broken down. You can go into it. You're in a new area. Giant pit filled with lava. You see the big skeleton go into the lava pit. He disappears. Your character says, well, I guess he's not coming back anytime soon. And then that's it. And you can see a locked doorway that you can not jump through because it's locked above the lava. And you go, okay, I guess this is the quick access to the new area once you find the real entrance.
The real entrance, yeah.
Which I haven't done yet. I haven't looked it up yet either. I'm refusing to.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, it is fun to do the actual...
And I know there's a lot of secrets in Dead Cells from original launch that I have yet to figure out how to do. There's one bloody door in the clock tower area I've never been able to get open. I can't find the key for it. But overall, they seem to have done a lot of work in making the game more accessible and a bit more fun to play, I think.
Yeah, I've got to get in and try it again. Like, I know that because... when you said that it rolled out a few months ago on PC, that... Because one of the things you mentioned was that the time doors are now in between levels. Because I remember hearing that ages ago. I'm like, hey, was that
part of the DLC patch?
But it's part of that, yeah. And it's one of those things where I understand the practical reason why they did it.
Yeah, so...
But the finding the doors as well as running to them was always like a mad
one
panic
of the core
that I enjoyed.
things I think that makes that change a good change is because a couple of those time doors were to areas of the game.
Yeah.
And they no longer are.
Okay.
So you now have access to take any route you want to the end. as long as you have the abilities to
get there.
Get there. So you still need the right ability. But the doors are now just bonus areas only. You get extra loot, extra cells. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're basically souls. And an item. They've added a second type of bonus door.
Yeah.
Which is for killing a certain number of enemies without getting hit. So in the first zone, there's a door for 30 enemies. In the second zone, there's a door for 60. And then after the boss, there's a door if you didn't get hit during the boss, which I've done once for the first boss.
I'm not there yet.
Way more difficult.
Yeah.
But I find myself aiming for those more than I do for the timing ones.
Yeah.
Purely because spending more time in the level gets you more
stuff. Yeah.
Basically. There seems to be a lot of stat balancing that's gone on in terms of damage numbers, difficulty on health of enemies, the usual kind of rebalance.
I mean, they've always been really good
numbers.
at rebalancing that game.
It feels a lot tighter. I found myself reaching the end a lot more often. And generally with a lot more powerful stuff than I used to have. And higher stats. You find a lot more stat scrolls.
That's cool.
So usually, like, before the patch, I'd get to the end and I'd have maybe an 11 in a stat and a 3 in a different one. Now I'm hitting with like 17, 18 in my highest and 11 on my secondary. Like, there's a lot more.
I sort of, I'd get to sort of like Clock Tower and I would be like suddenly feeling very underpowered.
Yeah, basically.
But because I'm feeling underpowered, not feeling free to explore everywhere because people are starting to actually be dangerous. So I'm sort of slowing down in my power rise.
There's still some scaling to enemies based on the stats you've got.
Yeah.
Which there was before as well.
I mean, and it should get harder as you go along, but yeah.
But it does feels like it's a lot easier to get through and do runs now. And I'm very much aware I'm still very early on in terms of the progress of the game. When you beat the final boss, you get the boss cell, which unlocks the next difficulty if you turn it on. So at the start of a run, you can change how many boss cells you're using, change the difficulty of the game. You need one boss cell, as far as I'm aware, to access the new DLC area and boss. There is a second new area, which you need 5 boss cells for. Previously, you could only get 4, and I believe you get the 5th by beating the new DLC boss.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about how hard the game is at that point because the very first thing I did when I got the boss cell was turn it on and regretted my life because it ramps up
significantly
rapidly. It's significant ramp up. So in terms of difficulty changes, as well as boosting kind of damage numbers a lot more, it adds enemies to areas.
Okay. Just a lot more density?
Different types. So it'll bring forward enemies from later areas to the earlier ones. And there's also a couple of new types of enemies I hadn't seen before. The biggest one that got me is that the very first zone, the prisoner's quarters, when you turn on hard mode, there's now invisible enemies. that they throw 3 poison daggers at you. And they're invisible, so you can kind of see the stealth version moving. But because I didn't know it was coming.
You weren't prepared.
I walked into a corridor and got obliterated. But that's part of the fun of the game, I guess. Really. Yeah.
It is a great game.
The second stage where there used to be the grenade throwing people, they've brought the grenade ones from the clock tower that throw cluster grenades.
Oh yeah.
The harder wizards are in like an early
just ups the ante.
Yeah, so they've brought a lot of the harder enemies forward. And I haven't reached the later stages in hard mode yet, so I don't know what they've done to those. I don't know if there's new enemies there or if they've just gone nuts.
Should
be interesting. Yeah. But it's definitely brought life back to the game for me. I hadn't touched it in months.
Yeah.
And I think I'm back in the kind of realm of picking it up every day.
It does make me want to get
a couple
back into
of runs.
I'm just playing so many games at the moment. There's so many good games.
You need to finish Barbara's Yaga first.
It's true. I know you mean Baba is you, but I like the idea of Baba is Yaga. Does that come in later?
Just John Wick in my head now.
The Baba Yaga. They get way more Russian stuff in the third one.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Did you enjoy the big game?
The what?
The big game last week.
What big game?
Yeah, the big game that everyone was watching. Quite disappointed in it.
Oh, the throne game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like calling it the big game.
the throny thing.
Yeah. It ended.
It's all right. It's finished.
It ended. It was.
I had a time.
It was we had times. It was an ending to the story they chose to tell.
It was.
I like the without saying anything.
I've got a lot of thoughts, but none of them matter now. So
what's the Simpsons quote where they're like, and let's say Mo. Yeah. I can't remember what it's a reference to. It's like at the end, just sort of like whatever.
Yeah. It's okay.
Here's a choice. Go. Done. Yeah, it's over now. Now I can start watching something else.
I think the things I found most interesting from everything that's happened with that game is all the stuff on the author now.
Which stuff on the author?
Where he's been like, okay, I'm going to change the ending for the books because you didn't like the
ending
for the show.
Oh, did he say that? What the last I heard from him, he said like, well, the broad strokes are pretty much going to be the same.
So his initial thing was like, it's all because he gave the showrunners the story, the plot lines. Like they knew where they were heading towards and what the general idea of things were going to be. But yeah, I think because of the backlash that's happened, he's now come out, like George R. R. Martin has gone, I'll tweak it a bit.
See, the thing is,
give you a different story.
But
I reckon it'll still be mostly the same.
Yeah. I think there's nothing really wrong with most of the broad strokes.
No, it's the way it was told, I think, was the main issue.
And the thing is, and that's the thing
it
with
really should
Martin,
have been 2 more seasons.
I doubt, like, it's one of those things, like, even if Martin stuck to that structure, I bet it would have splintered off 1,000 times before it got to it again anyway, because that's his whole thing. And that's
he's got so much more to write.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, if this happens, then obviously all this stuff would be happening. But the showrunners weren't interested in exploring that because
they just wanted to
Star
finish
Wars.
It. They just wanted to tell the story, get it done, move on to Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars time.
Yeah,
people were worried about that, but I think their style is actually probably going to be
very
fine.
different realms to be making
it's
stories
like,
in.
I do not go to Star Wars for complex
high
characters. It's like, oh yes, everyone's motivation is very complex and understandable.
I feel like we got to watch Star Wars for exactly the things that happened in Game of Thrones.
Exactly. We want big explosions. We want people making big dramatic turns. And
we now know they know how to shoot things in darkness, which space is.
Yes. Very
so. All those dark shots of space would be perfect.
Oh, I forgot to say before, when I said Sony and Microsoft got together, I was very witty and I put dollar signs in the S's of both names.
Both.
Yeah, so
it's dollar only.
Yeah. I'm very I'm sticking it to the man. And
where do you put it in Nintendo? What do you do with that? Like, do you turn one of them into a wallet? Does it?
I'm trying to think.
Make the E a Bitcoin symbol?
Well, it could be a euro.
It could be a euro, yeah. Or a pound. Pound's almost like an E.
A little bit, yeah. In euro dough. Anyway, I think that pretty much brings us to the end, unless you had any other news. Thank you for joining us, 8.5bit. You can catch the website, 8.5bit.com, our Twitter and Facebook. Please like, share, anything like that. Subscribe to us on iTunes. And if you do, please review, because reviews help us share the love. And join our Discord. You can listen to the show live if you're really desperate, or you just want to have friends. I'd like some friends. You can join us anytime. Next episode will happen post most of E3.
Ooh.
So,
and with James again?
No.
Oh, he'll be honeymooning.
So he'll be in Japan. So if you're free, if we want, we can try to drag in some other people. We'll
some
see.
Other poor pleb.
Because what I really enjoy doing, because it's what I always want to listen to, and no one does. I like commentaries on the press conferences.
Yeah, definitely.
But with James being away, and we're sort of thinking about doing a press conference watching party, kind of like an Oscar party. I don't know if that'll happen this year. We don't have our E3 plans, but so there'll be at least some content that's E3 next time you hear us. And
some Outer Wilds, I believe.
Outer Wilds is out. Yes. Oh, you want to know
31st, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it'll be out when this drops.
It comes out on James's wedding day. We might have to stop and play it.
Yeah.
But here's the wild rumor. Did you hear the wild rumor about the Cadence of Hyrule?
No.
So if rumor is said is true,
this is gonna.
It came out 3 days ago.
What?
When this is released?
As in
it is in the e-store, like in the back end. It is coded as the 30th of this month.
So it's just sitting there on coming soon, right at the bottom of the coming soon list.
I don't believe it.
If it's true, I'll be happy.
But if it's true, I'll be like, whoa, random drop. What the hell is that? So maybe you've all been playing Cadence of Hyrule by now. Yeah. Interesting. Thank you for watching. I've been your host, Paul.
I've been Sam.
Catch you all later, friends.
Bye.